Well, I totally get his side of things and blah, 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 but fuck all that. Fuck all that. I don't have to operate under the same rules that Ted Daniel does, and I'll just go ahead and fucking say it. It speaks volumes that Hank Brennan will not do an interview. Why would a high-profile special prosecutor deny an interview?
Hey, Will, tell us how dumb you are without telling us how dumb you are. Do you understand what the prosecutors are held to? Do you understand that they are not allowed to give interviews and speak about ongoing investigations because it is not ethically or morally appropriate to subvert justice in that way? Like Karen Read's legal team is trying to subvert justice with every ounce of their being? Do you get that at all? Because it's disgusting that you sit here and put down a man who has more ethics in his little pinky toe than you have in 15 of your bodies. It's disgusting. Hank Brennan is not going to give an interview on the ongoing criminal case against Karen Read. Justice takes place in the courtroom. And that is where it shall be doled out. Not by trying to confuse people and have soap opera content on our freaking news stations, which makes the majority of us intelligent, critical thinkers extremely frustrated and upset with our news broadcasting people. This is not investigative journalism anymore. This is not let's check our sources anymore. This is not let's be morally and ethically correct in the way that we cover cases. It's disgusting. It is so easy to see that Karen Read is psychotic. She was pissed that John O'Keefe was breaking up with her. And so she did what she did because she cannot control her rage. And the fact of what this woman has done in that entire community, and she continues to do, is what lends me to full-heartedly be able to say that she is psychotic, because no human being with any sense of morality, dignity, integrity, ethics, moral fiber, consciousness, a sense of guilt, would be able to do what she has done to John O'Keefe, and now killing him over and over and over and over and over again. Every time she does an interview, she blames John. If y'all can't see that, then you really probably should start praying to somebody, because that's not a good sign if you can't see that she is outright blaming John for her situation, that she is now on trial for his murder. Every time she gives an interview, it is his fault. It is the most freaky thing to me that people actually look up to this woman. Try to put her on some kind of moral high ground. Invite them to meet their children. Karen Read mowed John down. She knew she hit him. There is no way that you can throw your car into reverse 24 miles an hour, 62 feet, all the bells and whistles going off in that vehicle. And I have a vehicle that has bells and whistles, so I know exactly what they sound like. And there is no way in hell that she did not hear all of that going off. I don't care if she had Metallica playing on frickin' 85 decibels in her fucking Lexus. She knew what she did. And she immediately, like a burglar in the night, went to John's house and started covering her tracks and trying to figure out her story. And the fact that she is still bamboozling people to give her their money while she's out eating steak and lobsters and drinking Tito's and living in a hotel. I mean, probably boinking her lawyer. Married lawyer, by the way. Not only is it an ethical violation, but it's a moral one as well. I mean, I don't understand it. It's so freaky to me. And y'all that live in that area that are doing what you're doing to your police officers, you sit and talk shit about Michael Proctor the way that you do. Why don't you do some research on who Michael Proctor is? Why don't you actually do your research on his professional background? If he's had any citations before this whole debacle with Karen Read. The worst that the federal government found in investigating that man was that he had some inappropriate text messages to a very select group of people that he trusted in his inner circle. And he is a human, and he was venting. And was it wrong? Yes. Did he admit that he was wrong? Yes. Has his life been turned upside down because he made a boo-boo and Alan Jackson and Karen Read tried to destroy him and his family's lives over it, like Alan Jackson does to all of the victims of all of his defendants? It's so disgusting. Like, I cannot even. It literally makes me vomit. It gives me an upset stomach. It gives me heartburn. It brings, like, absolute tears to my eyes. That people, and then she has the audacity to say some shit like, I can't believe how evil people are. That's literally what they are doing, folks, is gaslighting 101. Everything that she is saying is actually about her. Everything that Alan Jackson is outwardly projecting is really about their defense and who they are as people. All of their accusations are literally mirrors into their souls. Every single one of them. So every time that they have one of these cute little sayings like, look the other way, or if it walks like a duck, it must be a duck. Every single one of those, flip it on their head. In fact, I think Ted Daniels said that in one of those interviews tonight or yesterday or whenever he did. He said, no, I think it was it was a super chat in Melanie Little's live that she did earlier. Somebody said, because she was talking about Michael Morrissey giving his, what they all, begrudgingly refer to as the hostage video, which I really hope that, Michael Morrissey is keeping track of all this stuff. I'm sure Hank Brennan is. And Michael Morrissey can sue the shit out of all these people. Melanie Little is outright saying that Morrissey is a liar, that he is doing things unethically, that he's made choices in this situation that were not moral. And she is completely character assassinating this man. And one of her chatters said tonight, if you say everything that Michael Morrissey says and flip it on its head, that's the defense's position. Exactly. And that is called gaslighting. It's also referred to as DARVO in the psychological handbook. It's an acronym. DARVO. Defend, attack, reverse, victim, and offender. That is what they do. That is their trademark. That is what narcissistic, psychopathic people do when they are gaslighting you and when they are using your own moral, ethical, emotional, humanity, consciousness against you. The fact that you have guilt and shame, they will use that against you to make you look at them like they're the victim. and feel bad about you, like, maybe, I don't know, spilling an ice cube on the floor when they just beat the shit out of you so you needed to put ice on your face, and they're gonna then attack you for spilling ice on the floor, and that now they have to clean that up. That's the kind of shit that people like these people do. Everything that they do and say is exactly who they are when they are projecting that shit. And so what they are doing to people like Michael Proctor and Morrissey and whoever else that they've attacked in this, who are good stand-up people, all of these families. I mean, don't even get me started. These children, young adults, and parents, and mothers, and fathers, and it is vile what they have done, and they continue to do. That's why it pisses me off so much. Because Melanie Little is an attorney, and people actually look to her for advice. They look to her because she has a law degree. Though she practiced civil, she claims she did criminal, I think. No, I don't even think she does. I think she says civil. State and federal civil. Okay, she has no idea. She knows. She knows that Karen Read is guilty. If she didn't know, you have to really be brainwashed at this point to not know that she's guilty as a motherfucker right now. Like, seriously. But my point with all of that is, you are destroying good cops. Do you want to know what happens when you do shit like this and you start ripping out good cops because of your own moral bankruptcy? Is you're going to have shit cops. You are going to get corrupt cops. And I'm not saying there isn't corruption there. There clearly is. But it is not in the Read case. And it is not with those officers that have been thrown to the wolves. They have been put through hell. It's not, and you're using that literally to try to say that other asshole that killed and dismembered his wife in Massachusetts, could potentially get off because of what Proctor did in the Karen Read case. You are actually reinforcing that mindset in people to maybe, not convict a man who dismembered his wife because an officer with no background of any wrongdoing ever in his professional life, ever, or probably personal, from what I know. I mean, I don't know the man, but, they've been digging up dirt on this guy for 3 years, and the worst thing they found are some, what might be looked at as some not tasteful text. But quite frankly, he knew that this bitch killed her boyfriend and left him there to die by himself in a blizzard for 6 hours. He knew that. And that is when he made those comments. And he is a human being. So if you're telling me that you've never said shit like that, or if your buddy doesn't come to you and say, listen, da-da-da-da happened, and you haven't went off and said some shit or texted some shit, I don't care that you all say he's a police officer and he's held to higher standards. Yeah, that might be true. But he is not doing criminal acts. He is not doing anything that is any kind of illegal activity. He literally was venting to very select people who he trusted on his personal cell phone. And quite frankly, I believe that his rights were violated. But y'all are going to get rid of, you're just inviting. You're actually, those of you standing out and doing this shit, talking about corruption, but fighting for a woman that killed her boyfriend in such a disgusting way. Any way is disgusting. I mean, murder is not, I mean, you can't sugarcoat that. But the fact that she, every day, every time that she talks about him, every time I read a post, I don't know any of these people. I live across the country. I don't have any personal gain in this one way or the other than justice and my humanity and my bleeding heart and empathy for all of the people that have gone through the hell that they have gone through because of Karen Read, her family, her defense team, and bloggers and criminals on YouTube who want to subvert justice. And some of them being ex-police, ex-lawyers that absolutely baffle me. Current attorneys that sit and twist shit and don't actually look for the truth and just want to talk about what's popular on social media so that they can get clicks and views and make money. It's disgusting. Ugh.
To assure the public that he is going to seek swift justice when it comes to the murder of Boston police officer John O'Keefe. Why wouldn't, I mean, literally every fucking other prosecutor that I've ever seen working a high profile case will hold a press conference once in a while just to keep people updated on what's going on. They'll give an interview. Why is Hank?
They're not going to give updates on a case that is ongoing. Like, what are you talking about? They don't do that. The only one that I can think of that I've seen give updates is like Rex Heuermann. And that's because the only time they give updates is when they find another victim. Okay? So, as far as we know, Karen hasn't killed multiple men. But, you know, until they find more those skeletons in her closet, won't put it past her based on some of the things that, you know, have come out during this. Notice how none of her actual ex-boyfriends have come forward and said, oh, she's such a wonderful girlfriend and she treated me so well. Nope, haven't seen that. Interesting. And all y'all that say, well, they're exes. Yeah, well, if you can't be friends with an ex that you once loved and cared about, then that speaks a lot about, like, I'm sorry, I'm friends with a lot of my exes. And, because I care about them. And we've been friends for, like, 20 years. So, like, what the fuck? You know, adults can move on from things not working out. And, you know, there's emotional maturity. And, you know, there's a lot of factors. I'm not saying everybody needs to be friends with all of their exes. But, I mean, typically, people are friends with some of their exes. I mean, you date a lot of people, and they're in your circle of friends a lot of times. Okay? I don't know anybody. Karen's own sister isn't even supporting her, as far as I know.
To assure the public that he is going to seek swift justice stand now in the second trial, and she mentioned, well, that'll be a game time decision. What's your gut telling you on that?
I think she probably won't. I mean, as rare as it is for her to do all these interviews with us, I think would be even more rare for her to take the stand. But one of the things that the new special prosecutor is trying to do is take all the statements that she's made and find contradictions. Before this story even aired, we got a court order at this station saying the DA's office wants all the raw interview. They want everything and my notes. Mm-hmm. So the DA's office has been doing that to everyone that she's spoken with because they want to say, hey, there's this inconsistency there. Or she said this during this interview, said something different during another interview.
See, I love that he's talking about that. Because he's I mean, anybody with common sense who's listening to Ted Daniel tell this factual story is going, they're totally trying to railroad her. It's a fishing exercise.
No, people with critical thinking skills come to a different conclusion, Will. What is happening is that Karen Read is trying to subvert justice by trying to manipulate people who haven't really looked into the trial as a whole and maybe saw something that looked a little weird and haven't done the research into looking why it could be weird other than 50,000 people are in on a conspiracy to frame Karen Read, and John's family, the victim's family and friends, really don't care that they're prosecuting the incorrect person. In fact, they're all for it. They know that she's innocent, yet they want to railroad her. How much common sense does that take, people? Carrie Roberts, I've said this a million times, is the best evidence there is. The only person that Carrie Roberts had any kind of love towards are the O'Keefes. She wasn't friends with anybody else. She met Jen once when John took them to buy shoes as a thank you. I think she met Karen once, I think she said. Like, she's not beholden to anybody except the O'Keefes. And she testified right after Jen McCabe, and she corroborated everything that Jen McCabe said. She would have no reason to try to, frame Karen for, and then, try to get his actual murderers free. She wants justice, just like John's family wants justice. And the fact that y'all use his name to raise money for his murderer is the sickest thing I have ever seen, because all these content creators, if you are out in the public and you have been bamboozled into this, they are using you. They all know she's guilty. They all get talking points from each other. They all know exactly what they're supposed to do. And they're making bank off of it. That's their moral high ground. That's where they sit on the integrity spectrum. So, again, no. Prosecutors don't come out, and again, this is a retrial on top of everything else. So there's nothing to update the public on. The only time people give press conferences is when there's updates, or when they are trying to get the public to help them in some way. They don't give press conferences right before a retrial of somebody who they've already put through trial. Like, there's nothing to update the public on. So no, I mean, if you believe these things that these people are saying just because they're saying them, please check your critical thinking skills, because what they are telling you are blatant lies. And if you are interested in actual factual justice, in actual factual corruption, in actual factual putting guilty people into prison and keeping innocent people out of prison, then you need to understand a lot more than these people are manipulating you to believe, because they're literally teaching you incorrectly. Somebody that watches Melanie Little, for example, if you aspire to become an attorney, she's teaching you incorrect things. She's blatantly lying to you about shit. She's on her stream talking about how the Massachusetts district attorney, who's been district attorney for I don't know how many decades, is corrupt, how he is lying, how he is putting out false information, how he is manipulating and doing something to subvert justice. She's saying all of this, and that is all factually lies. And it's not just misinformation. It's not like, oops, she's making a mistake. It's she's intentionally doing this on purpose to try to free John O'Keefe's murderer. She's doing that for her own benefit, to make a ton of money. She's built a platform off of John O'Keefe's death. She's literally built her platform on this trial. She knows Karen's guilty. If she's not getting paid directly, which there's a lot of backroom banter, I don't know if they'll ever be able to prove that, but sounds like she is getting paid directly. But even if she isn't, look at how much money she's making off of YouTube alone. Super chats, Venmos, all the watch hours that y'all give her when she's going over documents. And she's on live stream like freaking 4 hours a day, 8 hours a day. I mean, sometimes she's on there. It's ridiculous. That's all the woman does. That and goes to Dead concerts. Or Dave Matthew concerts. So, I mean, she's lying to you. It's really that simple. And you need to get better role models in your life, because it's very disgusting what these people do on YouTube. What Michael Morrissey actually did was he typed up a statement, which is why she Melanie and all of these assholes like to call it the hostage video because he's reading his statement, because he typed it up and he actually got approval from the Massachusetts Supreme Court to do this. And yeah, it is the first time in his whole career, in his whole life, in any of our lives, that we have ever seen something like that, which for me, myself, that's what got my attention and got a lot of people's attention. Okay, I thought, shit, man, this does look weird. It looked like there was corruption. I thought that DA was overstepping his bounds. I looked into the case and I figured out what was going on. So if you actually want to find the truth, you have to seek the truth. You can't decide that you want somebody to be innocent and therefore all of the evidence that you see, you flip to make it fit that. Put that square peg in that round hole. That's not justice. That's not seeking truth. That's all because of there's so many different variations of motivations of these people, from political, Josh Levy. Now there's a new ADA or a new AUSA in there, which doesn't seem like she's got much integrity either, unfortunately, because she's not going to make any sort of comment. I hope Judge Cannoni and Hank Brennan expose this shit, because I know that they have to know what we know. I am not in politics. I don't ever follow politics with good reason. This case is the most I've ever looked at politics in my entire life, because I've basically had to figure out what the hell was going on. There is corruption, but it was between Josh Levy, the Reeds, and all of these sick fucks that are fighting for her to not go to prison. The feds are done. I'm not going to go into all that. It's over. It's been over. Okay? My point here is that this whole hostage video that these assholes talk about, do your research on it. Find out why. Yes, it is very unique. It is probably the only time any of us have ever seen it in our entire lives. So ask yourself why, and don't just go with whatever the YouTube creator of the day says to you, and then ride that to your death. Ride or die, right? Oh, your favorite content creator said it, so you put all of your critical thinking aside and just abandon all rational thought to what? Have a social networking club of people that are criminals and don't give a shit about you and ask you for your money constantly, expect your money, won't engage with you unless you send them money, rarely ever read any chats that aren't super chats. I mean, they shut off their computer at night and they are laughing all the way to the bank, folks. The amount of money that y'all have given a murderer because you have been duped. Or a lot of you, like Olivia, who's going to come on this right quick, which is why I'm talking about the hostage video. You know, she knows. These people that are behind the scenes really pushing this shit, they know that Karen's guilty. It's innocence fraud, okay? So what they are doing when Hank Brennan is getting all of this stuff. Remember, I think in the last hearing, he said, beautiful quote, "A lie left unchecked becomes the truth." The fact that Lally, and I give many, many props to Lally. Lally did so much work. He was a one-man show up against basically 4 attorneys. Okay? One-man show doing everything, all the research, all the questioning, all the cross-examinations, all the direct examinations, learning all of the technical data from all of the different sources that that man did an amazing job. But he didn't fight back against this political bullshit happening. And Hank Brennan is doing that. He said, fine, she wants to practice First Amendment, go for it. But everything that you say and do will be used against you in the court of law. You bet your ass. You're going to go and try to sway people that you're innocent? I'm going to use your own words against you in the court of law. If you want to subvert justice and manipulate people by doing interviews with people who give you softball questions, who are clearly biased, who edit the shit out of anything that you ever say to, you guys, you have full power to edit out anything that make you look bad in your eyes, but yet, critical thinking, rational people can still, I am amazed at the shit that you actually air. You and Jackson thought that all that shit that you said was a good idea? You guys have brainwashed yourselves so much that you don't even see how disgusting the shit that you say is. You don't even understand the actual bullshit that you put out into the ether is literally psychotic from the brains of actual narcissistic, borderline personality, psychosis people, dangerous people. It's baffling to me. Okay, so anyway, with all that aside, you're still putting out shit that does not reflect well on you. Okay, so you don't, but yet you won't take the stand. You talk as much time as you can. You say, I'm not afraid to take the stand. I'm not afraid to take the stand. I'm not afraid to take the stand. Then do it, Karen. Go under oath and say the shit that you want to say to the public in the court of public opinion without getting cross-examination. If you're so innocent, go let yourself do it with cross-examination. If you're so innocent, if I were in your situation, you all know what I'd do. I would tell all of my support to stop badgering John's family and friends and leave them alone and stop accusing them of things that they are not a part of. And I would get on the witness stand and I would tell my story. And it would stand up to cross-examination. Yeah, maybe my relationship had some flaws in it, but any question that you launch at me maybe will make me feel really shitty about something that I said or did once that you might find in my closet somewhere and bring out. But I didn't murder anybody. I certainly didn't run down my significant other and leave him to die for 6 hours and then try to go cover my ass and then launch this political campaign with millions of dollars and bamboozle people and manipulate people and brainwash people. But you won't take the stand, Karen. That doesn't really make sense.
Edition. They're sitting here and they're trying to find out, they're trying to impede on the privacy of the press, of a fucking, of a reporter.
No, they're not trying to impede on, this whole, Massachusetts doesn't protect their journalists, all that stuff. Karen well knows that, and she's continuing to do that shit. Okay? So, you can't say that she's not aware of all that shit at this point. She's going to get, I can't imagine Judge Canone not allowing Brennan to have everything of this interview. Of course, I'm sure Ted Daniels didn't write anything down just because he knows that it's going to all be taken, So, and Ted Daniels seems to be a little biased towards Karen, so I just, he's trying to help her with her cause kind of bias. He's wearing pink kind of bias. It's pretty disgusting, quite frankly. But, at least he did say some things. Yeah, I can understand why the prosecutor's office wouldn't talk to me. Yeah, you think, Ted? You really think? Yeah, that's probably not a very ethical move for a prosecuting office to do a sit-down interview about a person that you are about to prosecute. That would be highly unethical. So going back to this Michael Morrissey thing, do your research, people. Ask yourself, yeah, it looked weird. And if you want to jump down the conspiracy rabbit hole, keep going. Because if you think that Karen Read is innocent, you did not find the actual conspiracy here. The actual conspiracy happened between Karen Read, her defense team, AUSA Josh Levy, and Karen's family, and all these ridiculous YouTube content creators, Twitter creators, people that want to just gaslight the shit out of the American people and insult everybody's intelligence by telling you lie after lie after lie after lie. And it's really disheartening when people like Peter Tragos and Emily D. Baker, like those two, you know, Peter Tragos lost me way long ago because he refuses to actually do any research into this case. And you want to know why? Because he knows that Karen's guilty. It's obvious. Yet he won't really do anything against the FKR people because he is making bank off of FKR. He is riding this train by trying to plead ignorance. I'm just going to watch it like I'm a juror. Bullshit, Peter Tragos. Lawyer, you know. It's really disgusting. Many of us thought you had integrity. You lost it. Emily D. Baker, I don't really watch you, but I held out hope for you because I watched you one time during the Karen Read initial trial, and it wasn't so bad, but I was like, she's bordering, but now it's off the hooks. Like, the shit that you've put out at the end of her trial and in between trials here, it is so biased, and you've lost all integrity. And, I mean, yeah, I'm saying it for me, but trust me, there's a lot of people. You wait. After FKR fades off into the wind, I just wonder how many supporters y'all are still going to have, because quite frankly, I don't give a shit. Like, I don't trust you anymore. If you lie to me, I don't trust you anymore. So I'm never going to look to you for any kind of advice ever again. If I can't trust the words that are coming out of your mouth, then why the fuck would I ever listen to you on anything when I am trying to figure out the truth? You're not offering the truth. You're wearing rose-colored glasses, and you are giving legal analysis with a clear bias while claiming that you're not biased. And you're making bank. And it's disgusting. So, that's unfortunate for many of us who actually really did appreciate a couple of you legal analysts. And the same thing with, God, what the hell? My brain, I just lost it. The lawyer from the Adelsons. This man has a level head and has covered the Adelson stuff brilliantly. I think he is a very similar man to Lally in the sense of just a level head, put his head down, get his work done, find the truth, go after the truth, get justice kind of way of thinking. But he was on fucking The Young Jerks. And I swear to God, I mean, he doesn't know anything about the trial. Like, he's just going off of what his wife has told him and what's in social media, who apparently he doesn't think about the fact, like, where's his level head at when he's listening to his wife talk about crap that she hears on the internet and he's taking that as to be fact. It's really disheartening, because that's another, he was a good lawyer. I mean, he is a good lawyer. He gave great coverage on the Adelson, but he did his research. So why can't I think of his name? Y'all, put it in the chat. Damn it. I know y'all know him. Mama Llama knows him, because I think she commented on my post last night. But yeah, it was very disheartening, because it's just, don't give legal analysis on cases that you know that you don't do your research on. I think that is very dangerous. It's unethical. It's lacks integrity. If you're just going to give legal analysis on rumors, I mean, we're all Twitter lawyers in that respect. A lot of us understand the law, even though we're not lawyers. And a lot of lawyers have some really big egos that think that anybody that doesn't have a law degree is beneath them. And I think many of us could rival many of you dipshit attorneys that either, like this new Nan chick that's making the rounds, like, is she that dense? Does she actually think Karen's innocent? Or does she just need a new bunch of girlfriends? Or does she need, some attention from social media? Like, what is lacking in her life right now? Because she's handing out $500 here in super chats and she's going into all these drifters channels and giving them $500 super chats. It's disgusting. Like, it blows my mind that you, and I mean, there's a big part of me that actually thinks she believes it, So I'm thinking, this woman is not intelligent, yet she has a law degree. A lot of these attorneys know Karen's guilty. They're doing it for power, politics, and money motivations and social motivations. And I can't believe how the people in that area, like adult people, it seems to me that there's some major scars from high school that literally people are wanting revenge. Because I think that the Alberts and McCabe's, I don't know, but it seems like they were maybe the popular kids, the families that always got everything kind of situation. And so all of these people that were, not the cool kids in high school, they're using this to literally get revenge on people that they didn't appreciate, maybe not treating them well in high school or something. I don't know. But it's very, scary. It's disheartening. It's absurd. It's lacks total emotional maturity. This case, it's such a simple case. And it has been so subverted. And the idea here, Will, and Olivia, and Melanie, and Mike, and Nan, and all you assholes out there that are pushing this narrative, Hank Brennan is trying to prevent innocence fraud campaigns from becoming the norm. If y'all don't know what innocence fraud is, please listen to Roberta Glass on YouTube. She's very good. If you feel really passionately about a case that she covers, you're probably going to be pissed. Like, if you think Amanda Knox is truly innocent, you're probably going to be pissed. If you think that the Memphis 3 are truly innocent, you're probably going to be pissed. So just, go into it knowing that that's what she does. So she gets court documents. She knows the truth. She interviews the prosecuting attorneys. She understands what, how, for me, when I watched Making a Murderer, and I'm a total bleeding heart liberal. I don't know that I'm a hippie. I'm apolitical. Okay. I really do not get myself involved in politics because it's just so fucking toxic. So I'm just a hippie. I'm a lover. I'm a hippie chick. I don't get my panties in a bunch over most things in life like this. But shit, what was I talking about? Politics. Lost my train of thought. Hold on a second. Oh, I remember. So Making a Murderer, okay? So my point in saying I'm a bleeding heart is that I usually, I'm not a person that just believes authority. In fact, I really don't believe authority. I find out for myself. I learn the hard way. I always have. And I am a person that really has to fully understand something to fully trust something most of the time, with the exception of my spiritual self, because that's a much bigger consciousness. But anyway, we won't go into all that philosophy tonight. But I thought Stephen Avery was getting railroaded. And I mean, honestly, I don't even know exactly if he was the first time. I think he might have actually, I don't remember. I'd actually have to reference Roberta just because, I do know that the second thing that he went to prison for, he was actually factually guilty of. I do know that. but I don't remember. But anyway, the point is that these documentaries that come out that are so biased and they twist shit and they are able to get away with it like crap like that after these people are convicted. And typically they get people off of death row. People that are on death row have the best chance of getting their sentence commuted or getting a retrial, because that's the kind of shit that the Innocence Project, but really that was a Freudian slip, because I am a huge component of the concept of the Innocence Project and what they proclaim to be. The problem is that in my naivety and being a person that doesn't trust authority and truly wants to see the good in people, I believed a lot of these people that the Innocence Project backed and would, good things would happen. They would get them out of prison or they would get their sentences commuted. And it was always like, glory be, oh good, we've saved somebody from being, put to death for something they didn't do. Well, when you actually really do the research and get the court documents and go through the stuff and don't just listen to the rhetoric 20 years later where people aren't there to actually correct all of the lies, which brings me back to Hank Brennan's, a lie that goes uncontested becomes the truth, right? So after they've been convicted and 20 years pass, they can do these innocence fraud campaigns, and the younger generations, like all the younger kids that were trying to get the Menendez brothers out of prison, they don't know the true story. They truly believe that these boys were victims. They truly believe that they were abused and used and just absolutely grew up in vile conditions. They believe that because that is what these innocence fraud campaigns do. I'm old enough to know what the actual truth is. I also enjoy thinking. I enjoy learning. I enjoy flexing my brain muscles. So when people say, like, this looks fishy, or when I see something and I say, that's usually when I'm like, okay, that's weird looking. Why is a district attorney talking about people being innocent that aren't even brought up on charges? Like, what's going on here? Then I do my research. It gets me interested. It piques my curiosity. Curiosity is great. Curiosity did not kill the cat, in my opinion. I think curiosity is a beautiful thing. But then you actually have to seek truth when you go down that road and not just accept the very first thing which most people who are curious don't just accept the very first thing that they're told. Okay, but that's why these innocence fraud campaigns, this is the first one in real time that I'm aware of other than Amanda Knox. Amanda Knox did the same shit, but she was getting tried in Italy. And so her family put on this innocence fraud campaign in the U.S. for the same reasons that Karen Read's family does. It's all about appearances, right? Keeping up with what do they call that? Keeping up with the Joneses or whatever. Like how dare anybody reveal their dirty secrets? Come to light that their other son is pretty prolific criminal as well. Well, Mr. Nathan has quite the criminal record. So this isn't actually new, but things have been brought to light. But they don't want people to know their actual truth of what is it's like, I don't understand people like that. Like, nobody's perfect. We all have families that have fucked up people. We all have families that maybe we are the fucked up person. We all have families that have skeletons but like, I don't understand. Like, for me, I'm the one in the family. I'm the black sheep. I'm like, hey, we got a problem. Let's fucking talk about it. Hey, if you don't like this, then, let's talk about it. If you're embarrassed by this thing that I did, you need to get over it because it's not a reflection on you. It was my choice as an adult. And if people want to blame my choices on my parents, then that's their stupidity. And that's their lack of integrity. And that's their lack of moral fibers, quite frankly. Because my parents are wonderful people. They're imperfect people, like all of us. and all of us have our history and have our, our things that we struggle with in life. But for people to like hold parents accountable for their children's actions, especially when they're, young adults and especially into adulthood, like, that's bullshit. That is so bullshit. Except for the fact that when they're enabling it. See, and this is what I was trying to tell JFK. My mother, definitely, like, she'd write me off. I was a very, very rebellious teenager. Like, very. Okay, so she would have been just fine with completely writing me off. In fact, she tried to. But my dad wouldn't let her. But my dad sure as shit wasn't going to enable me. He was going to love me through my shit. But I needed to take accountability for my actions if I ever wanted to earn his trust and respect ever again. Because I betrayed his trust when I made choices in my life that he knew I knew better. But he loves me. I'm his daughter. Yes, he's going to support me and love me through my bullshit. But that does not mean that he's going to come and rescue me from court and put on some big political campaign trying to make everybody think that I'm innocent of something that I am truly guilty of. I couldn't do that. Like, quite frankly, like, ask yourself, people, could you do that? Because if you could do what Karen has done and be actually guilty of that crime and do what she's done, then you probably don't belong in a family. Like, I don't know. Like, that's scary. Like, you probably should see a counselor if you literally can, if you look at that and say, yeah, if I committed that crime, I'd put on this big PR campaign, and I totally think that that's legit. And yeah, we all have the right to put on a defense, and this is totally within the ethical bounds of that. No, it's not. It is highly unethical. All of these lawyers need to be, in my opinion, not only lose their bar cards, but literally go to prison along with their criminal defendant, because they are taking criminal actions. They have continuously walked right up to that line and stepped over that line over and over and over and over again. And Judge Cannoni lets them get away with it. And I think that Judge Cannoni is a wonderful woman from what I know. But she is very pro-defense, yet the defense and all of the FKR people constantly demean her, which is so disgusting because she lets them get away with so much shit. And I am so grateful for Hank's no bullshit attitude, because he is not going to let Alan Jackson and David Unetti get away with these shenanigans, which is why Alan Jackson's having these little hissy fits. He's having little hissy fits. They're all having little hissy fits. Look at them in their last court appearance. They're all sitting there with their little pouts on their faces and their arms crossed. They're all having little, I was going to say teenager hissy fits. Even younger than that. Like, you're 5 years old in a store and your mom won't let you get some candy, so you're just going to throw a temper tantrum right there. Like, Alan Jackson, that is what I see in him. I see him as, like, a 5-year-old kid constantly having temper tantrums in the middle of a grocery store, but he happens to be in a courtroom. That's his emotional maturity level, in my eyes. He demeans people. He re-victimizes victims. I just read something where he was cross-examining one of, I think it was a victim of Weinstein. Don't quote me on this, but I think that's what I read. Okay, and Alan Jackson, this victim of Weinstein, just was brought through their testimony on direct examination, and now it was Alan Jackson's turn because he was, defense for Weinstein, part of the defense team. So he just listened to Weinstein's victim explain in excruciating detail the terror that they went through. And Alan Jackson gets up to do his cross-examination and takes off his coat and looks at the victim on the stand and says, "Don't worry, I'm not going to go any further than that." Are you fucking kidding me? This is what this man does. This is what he did in the Spacey shit. He got cell phones. He gets information to blackmail people so that charges get dropped. And people are too embarrassed to keep fighting. And guess what? They found clean people. There is no dirt. The worst dirt they found was Proctor's text messages calling Karen a cunt. And she's a cunt. She murdered her boyfriend. I mean, let's be frank here. Call a spade a spade. She's a fucking cunt. She's much worse than a cunt. She's a murderer. And a terrorist, quite frankly, what she's put everybody through. And continues to put everybody through. And continues to expect everybody to enable her and pay her way and pave the road ahead and throw down flowers at her feet. It is fucking disgusting. But this is what the slime ball Alan Jackson does. It's his MO. You want to fucking talk about Michael Proctor's messages? Do some research into Michael Proctor. Do some research into the moral fiber of Alan Jackson. And ask yourself, who is the better man? Who has integrity? Who has a job that they can go home and be proud of? That their children can grow up and be proud of their daddy. Their wives can be proud of their husbands. Whose? So, yeah. I don't remember if Olivia already said that. Hold on, let me see.
Like, that's not evidence. What's Olivia saying here? Disagree. The public rightfully excoriated DA Michael Morrissey for his public hostage video as it was in violation of Rules 3.6. Right. It can taint the jury pool and is unethical. For sure. For sure.
Okay, so that's what I was trying to wait for. So I think that word she was trying to say was that they, I don't remember if it was like excruciating or crucified them or something. But anyways, she's saying that Michael Morrissey broke rules of ethical conduct. Again, Olivia Nile is a woman, I assume, that is on Twitter and on YouTube sometimes as guests. From what I gather, she knows that Karen Read's guilty. She has to. She's not a dumb person. But she is one of these head PR people that are constantly putting out false information and visiting these shows, saying shit like this to make her sound like, well, here's the ethical rule of conduct. No. Okay? That sounds good, Olivia, but guess what? He didn't violate any rules. He got that approved, which is why he's reading it verbatim, because he wrote it out verbatim and it got approved verbatim, and therefore it had to be read verbatim to try to alleviate the absolute asinine, bullshit, ridiculous, horrific, vitriolic hatred that this mob was committing against innocent people, innocent mothers, innocent fathers, innocent police, innocent children, because they believe some dumb blogger who's putting out lies. Before they even got any kind of discovery in the courtroom, Turtle Boy and the Glare and all these people are freaking brainwashing people. So only the people that actually do have critical thinking skills and did want to find the truth are the people that now you hear these people putting down and saying that everybody that was once FKR that is no longer FKR, they all left FKR because they don't like Turtle Boy. Like, again, we are talking about adults here. If you will literally stop believing in something that you believe to be truth because of some petty disagreement with some idiot, then you really, I don't even want to have a conversation with you. Because that tells me all I need to know about who you are as a person. The people that left FKR are people that wanted to find truth. And there are very few people that speak out, that live in that area because of the actual mob mentality and the threats and the threats to families' children. The way that these lawyers are going to schools, going to Michael Proctor's sister's school where she works with, I believe it was either elementary or junior high, like young children. And these asshole lawyers are going there to talk to Lucky Loughran. You can go anywhere in the world to meet with Lucky Loughran, to have a chat with him, and you choose Michael Proctor's sister's school. Really? That's just coincidence? Who meets in a frickin' school parking lot? There was no reason for you to go there. It is common sense why Yannetti went there. Common sense. There's no reason for them to meet there. And of course he says it was Lucky's idea. Why would Lucky say, let's go meet in the parking lot of a school, Mr. Yannetti? Yeah, let's do that. No. I mean, this is the kind of bullshit. So these people are trying to stop this, because if this wins, if people are able to allow this shit to happen and let this woman go free, then we are going to have, this is going to become commonplace in our legal system, and our justice system is going to get flushed right down the fucking toilet, people. We always talk about, how rich people can get away with fucking pretty much anything, and this is how they do. The problem with Karen is she's so narcissistic, and Alan Jackson even too, like, definitely leave, all the people that are like at the head of this are very narcissistic, because they continue to do this because they're getting attention, they're feeling good about themselves, they feel like they have some kind of moral, ethical high ground, when they're actually completely gaslighting everybody, but pretending to be good people and bamboozling actual good people into believing lies. If this goes through, we're gonna be in a world of hurt, because there's gonna be a lot more people getting away with a lot more shit. I guess the good news to that is most people can't afford millions and millions and millions of dollars to spend on PR campaigns, so it will still be like a 2-tier kind of legal system in that regard. Rich people getting off just in a very public way. I can't imagine this is going to work out for Karen. I can't imagine that she's not going to be convicted within the first hour of jury deliberations. I mean, from what I gather, like, I have so much faith in Hank, just on the little bit that I've seen him operate. I completely put, like, I know that, you can't predict a jury. So that's the only thing, is like, if they get FKR people on there, it's fucked, right? But they were pretty good about rooting them out the first time. And now they're very aware. And they're even more aware of the PR campaign. So I sure as shit hope that they have a really good way of rooting out these jurors. And as long as they don't have FKR people in there to hold out the juror, I can't imagine she's not going to get convicted of second-degree murder. This was absolutely second-degree murder, 100%. Any lawyer that wants to talk to me about how this is second-degree murder, I'll be more than happy to conversate with you. I am not an idiot. I do not have a law degree. I do, however, have 3 degrees in college, so I'm not a dumbass. I enjoy educating myself, and I enjoy learning things, and I am very passionate about things that I do involve myself in. I don't just get involved in something just because I'm bored. If I'm this invested into something, it's for a reason, and this reason is because of what I saw happening and the actual injustice that's going on. Not only it's so widespread. It's literally the whole community and to other countries. The people that are being taken advantage of. And it's a machine of people that have no moral fibers that are operating this actual corruption. Karen Read is a psychopath. She ran John over. Not over. Let me rephrase that. Use my words wisely. She backed into him and clipped him. And yes, the Commonwealth has a very well-accredited expert witness that is going to better explain to this jury in great detail how this happened and the physics and science of it. Because physics and science, everybody. Like, that is the argument of these people on FKR. Physics and science. Because physics and science. Because physics. Yeah. Okay. There's another example. These men are very professional. They are clearly accredited. They are clearly educated. They are clearly people that would be believable, that you'd like to think that you could put your trust into. But again, if you're a critical thinker and watching and listening to what they're saying, it doesn't make sense. If you just hear, well, John's body wasn't hit by the car and the car wasn't hit by John's body, you know, like, so because Arca said it, it must be true. Do you not understand that these people typically work in civil litigation? That's what they do. They are expert testifiers. They literally come and testify with a bias for a living. That's what they do. So if you don't use your critical thinking skills and say, well, really? Like, I'm sorry, how could it not have happened? Like, I've never heard of an honest scientist in any scientific field, mathematician, science, physics, all of this. I've never, in really anything, medical, like, I mean, I'm an artist, so, like, for me, there's never use the word never, you know? And never use the word always. There's always a never, and really poor words that should very, very rarely be used. Very rarely. There are certain exceptions, but it is a very rare thing. Not always or never anything. So if there's somebody testifying that always and never, that's your red flag right there. Always and never nothing in car accidents. Always and never nothing with injuries from a motor vehicle pedestrian hit. Always and never typical injuries. You know what? There was nothing typical about this. This was not a pedestrian hit in the normal sense of the word, where typically what happens, if it's a pedestrian strike involving a vehicle, it is a front collision. Do your research. How many times do you see victims of an accident, whether it's both people in vehicles, one person in a vehicle, one person on foot, on a motorbike, on a bicycle, on a whatever? Find me 2 examples of exact same things happening, where like this hit at this velocity and it was this weight of car and this, you know. Show me 2 cases of any kind of accident that involved a pedestrian and a motor vehicle that there was always and never anything. You can't, because it's not always and never. Then ask yourself, why is it, they're using the language of, well, this wasn't typical of a typical, these injuries are not consistent with a typical motor vehicle accident. Okay. Is this a typical motor vehicle accident? No, there's nothing typical about this. How many times do pedestrians get hit by people flying in reverse 24 miles an hour? I challenge anybody who's listening to this to find me another instance of that happening. Please. I will be happy to talk on it if anybody can find me one where there is a person driving their vehicle and they get pissed off, throw their car in reverse, and drive 24 miles an hour in reverse and hit their significant other, a stranger, whatever the case might be, a perfect stranger, just anybody. Find me another one. They don't know what's typical and not typical. They didn't do any action. These people are tech stream data experts, yet they did not ask for, nor did they receive, nor did they request, nor did they demand the actual tech stream data. That's what their expertise is in. That's what they brag about on their website. Do you not see that there's something wrong with that? Do you not see that that makes them not credible? Do you not see that as soon as I start listening and critically thinking to their testimony, I'm like, wait a minute. Why are they, like, they're clearly biased. That doesn't even make sense. They're telling me that this could never happen? That's bullshit. How do they know? Let's look at the tests they did. Oh, they built a potato launcher, which cost 500 grand or 50 grand. I can't remember how much it was. Some increment of 500 or 50 grand of your taxpayer money to build a potato launcher and do basically some sort of dummy test, neither of which were done in any way that the Commonwealth was theorizing. It was completely irrelevant information, in other words. Their testing had nothing to do with the theory that the Commonwealth put forth. And they wouldn't know that because they wouldn't accept any information from the Commonwealth. They would not accept any discovery material from the Commonwealth. They wouldn't accept it. That's why Hank Brennan is going through this Rule 14 motion with them, which I'm here for all day long, because you can't testify on the expert of any side without getting all of the discovery. And if you're going to pick and choose and cherry pick your discovery, then you're going to be called out on it. Because, like, that's why all of these people were admitted in the first trial. Because there was so much shenanigans going on. And that was Karen's one and only shot of getting acquitted. Now she's fucked. Because all that shit's been exposed. I mean, Robert Greene has a criminal record longer than a frickin' CVS receipt. Dr. Russell, I mean, come on. Please. Seriously, y'all. You give Trooper Paul a lot of shit. And that man is intelligent. He couldn't articulate what he was trying to say very well because he had a total asshole talking to him in such a disgusting, disgraceful way that it clearly messed him up. He was just like, what is happening? He's testified in a lot of trials. And brother counsel, yeah, he is qualified. He's done, I think, like 500 accident reconstructions. And he testifies just perfectly fine in most trials. Because they don't have asshole defense attorneys who get up there and want to use every one of the witnesses as a sacrificial lamb. So, you know, it's really disheartening to see people put him down too, because the man is very credible. Just because he doesn't have all of these master degrees, the man knows what he's doing. He was learning new technology, but he's an intelligent person, and he clearly was, you know, trying to explain it in a way that came out sideways. Okay, so anyway, point being, he was much more credible than Arca, because, you know, if he didn't know something, he would say like, well, no, I mean, I don't know. He would say, I don't know, if he didn't know. The Arca people, they don't use I don't know. This is black and white, which is bullshit, because you can't do that. Medical experts are not going to say this always or never anything. Scientists are never going to say, oh, yes, please, don't give me all the data. I don't want more information, because that would actually increase my ability to come to a more rational and practical hypotheses. So, no, please don't give me that. Yeah, scientists and mathematicians and physicians and all of these very highly educated people want all of the data points in order to draw the very closest conclusion that they can come to, and also keeping the door open for other possibilities, because it is not a black and white world out there, folks. So no, Michael Morrissey did not do anything unethical. He had it approved. He read it verbatim. It was a once-in-a-lifetime thing. Hopefully, this kind of shit doesn't happen again. He was doing his best to try to protect witnesses that the courts wouldn't. For whatever reason, they were denying all of their requests for RPOs or whatever y'all call them up there to get restraining orders. protection orders against Turtle Boy and all. Like, it shocks me. It shocks me to my core that judicial system was not protecting their witnesses. And to this day, the man is brought up on 19 counts of felony witness intimidation, and he's still running around doing a lot of the same shit. Not quite as bad. He's just like Jackson and Reed, stepping right up to that line, tipping his toe over. But he doesn't want to go to jail again. He's a fucking little bitch. And I swear, if he's got, the guy has connections. Anybody that watches Yellow Cottage Tales with Kevin, you know what I'm talking about. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, reach out, because I'll tell you what I'm talking about. But Turtle Boy needs to go to prison. And if he doesn't go to prison, then there's clear corruption where he's being protected if he doesn't go to prison. Because there's no way. Unless he's got help on the inside, there's no way he should get away with what he's gotten away with. And the same thing with Karen. And quite frankly, the same thing with her attorneys. They need to be disbarred at the very least. I truly hope that they are reprimanded, like I said, in the least by losing their licenses. I honestly fully believe that they should be brought up on charges. And, I do believe and hope to God that I'm correct in saying that Karen is going to get indicted for witness intimidation, because it's very obvious that she's the head of the dragon. She's got all these other little heads like Will and Olivia and Melanie and Aiden and Mike and all these other little, Brian and all these, she has multiple heads, which is why, in my opinion, it is Rico. This is the shit of Rico. It is like a mafia. It is a mob of people that if you cut the head off the dragon, another one grows. There's many, many heads to this. So, like, a prime example of this is when Aiden went to jail. What happened? Other people picked up for him, ran his blog for him, put out information for him. They lied to the court and had somebody making contact with Turtle Boy under the guise of she was one of his attorneys or some shit. There's a lot of shenanigans going on until they got busted with that, I think. I don't even know. Like, I don't even know if he did get busted with that, why that wouldn't have revocated his bail even more and served more time for that. The whole thing, I mean, it is disgusting. It is so deep. It just never stops. The audacity of these people, the fact that they actually, I think that they have brainwashed themselves into believing their lies to some extent because they have to continue to put on the charade of gaslighting. And it's like walking into the fucking Twilight Zone. Darvo. Defend, attack, reverse victim, and offender. That is what all of these assholes do. This was meant to be a quick... I was actually going to make a short on this little thing that Will said, and then I went off for, I don't know how long it's been now, an hour or two, probably. So, if you made it this far, thanks for listening. I have a lot of things that I want to say about a lot of things. I haven't been on YouTube as of late, but I will probably come back for a little bit and talk about some things just to do that, because there's some things that I think that I want to put out into the ether and talk about. And, I don't know if I'm going to continue to be on YouTube or anything. I may not. I don't know. The only reason I'm here was really for the O'Keefes and the Proctors and the Alberts and the McCabe's and the people that really touched my soul, and I've never met them in my life, but what I would give to give these people a hug, what I would give to be able to go speak on their behalf, what I would give to be able to go to Michael Proctor's whatever bullshit he's going through and speak to his authoritarians about what the truth of the matter is, and what they have done to him is shameful, quite frankly. Mayor, governor included. I don't remember I think it was the governor that came out and said something, female that said some shit right after Karen's trial. Like, really just threw him to the wolves. Everybody just threw Michael Proctor to the wolves. That's disgusting. It's really, really disgusting. That's a man of integrity, who's a human being, who had a moment in the middle of a murder investigation, away from his family, in the middle of a blizzard, working overtime. And, like, he was just like, what the fuck, So, and for those of you that don't know, this is not shit for the jurors, obviously, like, but just so the general public, that's, if you're not aware of these things and you're just coming into this case, the thing that prompted those text messages by Michael Proctor was a message that Michael Proctor saw on Karen's phone. He saw something. He was going through her phone, and he saw something that he shouldn't have seen. He immediately stopped, and he gave it to the taint team, or whatever that team is called, so that because the people investigating her and prosecuting her, they can't see communication between her and her attorneys and things like that. There's privilege, right? So he didn't know that was there. He was going through her phone. He saw something he shouldn't have seen, and he immediately stopped and gave it to whoever he needed to give it to. He stopped doing. But fact is he did see it. He saw something incriminating, and it pissed him off. And he was in the middle of overtime in this murder of a Boston police officer who if he didn't know John, he got to know, like, who this man was, and was like, just like, oh my God, like, he took in his sister's kids. The sister died of cancer. Her husband died 6 months later. I mean, it's just like, it's just such a sad story. It's such an incredibly sad story. And he called Karen a cunt. Because Karen's a fucking cunt. She's a murderous cunt. She's a terroristic cunt. She's a murderous, terroristic cunt. Them the facts, folks. So, anybody who actually wants to know the facts, feel free to ask me any questions. I don't put up with hate on this channel. I don't put up with people coming in here and trolling. I'm not going to feed into your disgusting calling of names and all of that stuff. So just save it. Like, you're not going to convince me. I'm a teeny tiny little nothing channel anyways. Okay. So, like, people that come and listen to me are people that actually want the truth. And, it's not a lot of people that are in the middle of this shit and in the middle of this social media PR campaign that actually want the truth. They're in it for all the wrong reasons, a lot of them. So if you're listening to this and you support me, you're a person that likes to think, likes to find actual factual truth, and you appreciate my passion and my quirkiness and my sense of humor and my bluntness. I don't know. I have the mouth of a sailor, but the heart of Mother Teresa. That's what I always say. I do cuss, so, that's a turn off to some people, but that's me. So I'm raw and real, and I'm authentic, and I just say it like it is. And I would never call somebody a murderous psychopath without doing my research. If there was any doubt that I could be wrong, if there was even a ounce of doubt that I could have this wrong, that Karen Read could actually be innocent, that the state didn't prove their case with the evidence that they had. Now, let me just say this. It was presented in a very difficult way. I had the ability to research facts during the trial where the jurors couldn't. So I came into this case literally day one of trial. So I didn't know much. I just saw Michael Morrissey's video, and I had a tiny little bit of background information that was like from the social media realm, and that was it. So I came in first day. So like I didn't have, I was really leaning towards innocence. Okay. It seemed like there was corruption based on Michael Morrissey's video, but I wanted to find the truth. I didn't want to find Karen Read innocent. I thought she could be innocent, and I wanted justice to be served properly. And so therefore I did my research. So, like I said, I follow true crime, and I would never come out here and be speaking this vehemently about somebody if there was 1 ounce of doubt of her actual, I'm trying to think of how to say that. If there's any doubt in my mind, much less reasonable doubt, I would never say the shit that I say. I am saying this because I've researched. I have done my homework. I know this type of behavior. I'm also very much interested in psychology, which most true crime fans are. People that like to understand the law and investigations and DNA and like like to get in the dirt and in the mud with these things and really try to understand this stuff. We typically like psychology because we want to understand why people do the shit that they do. And trust me, this case will be studied because Karen Read is a dangerous person. And she very narrowly escaped prison the first time. I don't think she's going to be able to do it the second time. Again, unless there's more corruption and they sneak some people in on that jury, because that's what their goal is. And they come right out and say it. I mean, these people on social media are like, yeah, let's taint this jury pool. I mean, like, they literally say it. Not always in so many words, but they're like, yeah, we got to get the truth out, Any of you that might be potential jurors, just, you better, don't be writing stuff on your social media and don't be telling them that you think she's innocent. Like, they're saying shit like this on their YouTube channels. Like, I don't think that that's very good advice. Because, quite frankly, if that shit happens again, I really think that they should pursue contempt of court for if they find out jurors are doing some of that shit, like they kicked some of those jurors off. They had proof of some of that shit. Like, contempt of court, put those bitches in fucking jail if they're gonna try to do that shit. That's criminal. Don't lie to the court. You don't go in there and subvert justice. You're not God. If you have a preconceived notion, whether it be innocence or guilt, you do not belong on that jury. Period. If you can't have an open mind and look at the evidence, then you should not be on that jury, period. So, anyway, again, I'm going to sign off now. I will likely come back and talk soon, if not tomorrow. Like I said, I have some things I want to just talk about. And I really would like to be able to have, I wonder if I can get in touch with Murder by Maestro. I need somebody that can tell me how to, how can I have a panel without having, what do they call it? Restream, or I forget the platform on YouTube that they use. Techstream, Restream, whatever that they use on YouTube to have panels. I would really love to have panel discussions with folks and be able to invite people up to conversate with me because I enjoy intellectual, critical thinking conversations about philosophical, spiritual things in life, and what's often things that you don't really see people being honest and real about. Those are the kind of conversations that I would love to have with American people, because those are the conversations that need to be had. So, anywho, I'm going to see if I can figure that out. I don't want to pay, I don't know what it costs. I think their prices went up. You got to pay $50 a month to have that, and I just can't afford that right now. So I have a lot of issues. A lot of issues. I think I'll do a quick little thing, little peek into my situation to reach out a little bit. But anyway, we'll see. It's all very fluid. But if you're here and you've listened to me and you've had an open mind, or, I hope that you found something useful, found some comfort in my words, or in my in my laughter, or in my whatever, I don't know, my sarcasm, my not taking any of their bullshit, calling out their bullshit. I mean, I'm at the point where I'm just like, there can't be people that actually still believe this, but it's like cockroaches or fleas or something. Like, as soon as you, like the head of the dragon, you cut off all these heads and they just keep popping up. So you've got new people coming in that don't know the background, and then they trust all this shit that these people are spewing. It's just, I don't know. I gotta let it go, but, which is why I haven't really been talking much on it, because I'm just like, these people, I can't help people that don't want the truth, If they want the truth, they'll find the truth. If they don't want the truth, they're going to live in their echo chambers. I don't know. So that's an ego thing that I struggle with, because, like, it really is like, I want to be helpful, but I also need to, my goal is not to impede upon people's dignity to draw their own conclusions. But that's ultimately what I'm doing. So see, I'm getting into this philosophical thinking because I want to help people, and my goal, my intention is good, but the road to hell is paved with good intentions, right? My intention is good, but really what I'm doing is I'm not allowing people enough dignity to draw their own conclusions. But I don't know. See, this is a conversation that would be interesting, because it's not like I'm trying to shove my beliefs down anybody's throat at all. I'm calling it as I see it. I'm here for people that might be coming out of this brainwash stage. I've told people that, like, if you need a soft place to land, same thing with Kevin. Like, he will talk to anybody, and he has made it very clear that, he will support you if you come out of the fog, and he's not going to throw you under the bus, and you can trust him, and you can trust me, and we're not going to, mistreat you like the people on FKR will terrorize people that go against their wishes. That is why it's a cult. It is so awful. But so anyway, again, I could go off on a whole philosophical conversation about that, but I just want to help where I can, and I gotta also have to let go and know my place. I can't save the world. I wish I could, but I can't. But I do love you all, and I miss talking to y'all, and I'm so behind in comments. I've had a lot of personal struggles lately, so I will probably do a little bit of a stream on that where I just kind of tell you, because I have people on here that I really care about, and I've never met you, but I've come to really care about my peeps. It's a really good community. It's a safe community. We have very few trolls, probably because I'm a super small channel and I'm not interested in monetizing or becoming a big YouTuber. Like, I would much rather have good people with good hearts that want truth and justice and want to better themselves as human beings. Just quality over quantity, right? Like, I just want to have a place that's safe and healthy and happy and offers love and grace and humanity, empathy. So, anywho, I love you all. Spread love and light everywhere you go. Remember to smile and, A simple smile to the strangers you meet in the street goes a long way, people. It can completely turn around somebody's day. A smile, a laugh, a hug. I mean, you're not, I'm a hugger, so I hug everybody, but not everybody is that open. Not everybody appreciates that about me either, but most people, most people that love me love that about me, but you don't have to be that ridiculous as I am about that, but a smile goes a long way. Opening a door for somebody goes a long way. Allowing somebody in line in front of you goes a long way. Allowing somebody to pull out in front of you that's clearly in a bigger hurry than you are goes a long way. Just remember that people have bad days. We're all humans. We are all imperfect. We need to grant grace where we can. And we need to be grateful for grace when it's granted to us. Love and light to all of you. Mwah. Talk soon. Bye-bye.